Rebecca Hunter, Joey Christ, and Chrissy Palmero. Thank you. I'd like to thank council members Steve Thorne and Rose Martinez for being here tonight. There they are.
Situations and brave instead of fearful. EMSA has made me feel supported as a student and has helped me get great test scores and high grades. I love all my teachers and classmates here. Thank you all for visiting our amazing school and taking the time to listen to my speech. Good night.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
So you see why it's all so worthwhile. I think a lot of you got to meet some of our fabulous students who were greeting everyone. So let's give a round of applause to our students Briley Lane, Cora and Kate Mihalich, Evan Burns, and Miles Hunt. Thank you so much. Welcome. So many of you were helpful in getting this school here, so thank you in the crowd for those of you who helped. I would like to recognize our principal, Jacqueline Willard, in the back. Hi, Jacqueline. You already met Dan Alexander, our fabulous COO. Gary Zwick, my twin co-chair of the board. Bithia Lane, our parent-teacher lead and the parent of fabulous Briley. Katie Taylor, our new development director. Woo! And Richard Wilson. Richard Wilson's a hardworking committee member, too. Richard Wilson. Everyone knows Richard. And so many more people have made this possible, like the teachers and our students who have brought this campus back to life as part of the 100 years of recent history. Our 100-year anniversary, or the schools, is next year. But really, the history goes back thousands of years, so I'd like to recognize and acknowledge our gratitude to the Potawatomi, the Illini, the Ottawas, the Chippewa nations, among others, who were stewards of this beautiful property. We are the stewards now, and we have sought to rehabilitate these historic buildings. In the process, we had to gently relocate thousands of honeybees from the art barn. Hopefully you got to visit that. Now it's a beautiful art and music space. Right here in the corner, we had to slay what we called the bubble monster. It was 4 feet tall, 6 feet long, up from the floor, crazy. The roof had been pierced by an oak tree. Its branches were in, so water was coming in that way. That hallway back there was about to fall in. And we were also able to stop the rain on the inside on the second floor. So this building was on its way out another 6 months, and it might not have been able to be saved. So that happened. And we couldn't have done it without the guidance of our surprise guests that we have here tonight, whom we met before we were even a school. An inventor himself. He believes curiosity is the best enticement to learning, and that is one of our mottos as well. He's a nationally recognized speaker. He was a Chicagoan of the Year. He's a fellow of the American Institute of Architects, and I could spend 5 more minutes reading his bio, but I won't. But I want to introduce you to our architect, Larry Kearns, the founder of Wheeler Kearns Architects.
For over 36 years as an architect, I have been time traveling, visiting the past through buildings we've revived over the years. Decades ago, I traveled to the Art Deco era, courtesy of a Chicago library that reemerged as a music venue. More recently, I toured the post-war industrial South, courtesy of a Kraft cheese factory, reborn as a place for contemporary visual and performing arts. In the building we're in, I traveled back to the time I was born, when the baby boom was booming and schools were rapidly trying to catch up. Until someone cracks the laws of physics, visiting the past through buildings provides me with a unique way to shake hands with our predecessors, discovering their values, customs, and ideas. When time traveling, I'm amazed at how often I encounter old perspectives that seem relevant again. It's almost like the wisdom was lying in wait, ready to be rediscovered. In the case of EMSA's campus, it's uncanny how many buildings were designed with an architectural language known for its organic inspiration. Could there be a better fit for a school whose students learn by exploring the natural world? Every time I visit this place, my blood pressure drops amid the heritage oaks, the forested fen, and the work of an insightful architect. As a member of the Prairie School, architect John Van Bergen designed 4 buildings here. By the time he arrived on campus, he had amassed a decade of independent work completed from his Highland Park office. Before then, he worked for Walter Burley Griffin and Frank Lloyd Wright, for whom he documented the Roby House, which initially overlooked an actual prairie. He closed Wright's office in Oak Park, where he grew up and earned his first independent commissions. John Van Bergen completed the administration building just north of where we are in 1928, a year after opening his historic Braeside School in Highland Park. Both buildings had all the nurturing aspects of a home, made with natural materials and furnished with fireplaces and abundant daylight. During the next 23 years, he spoke on this campus in an architectural dialect that celebrated the vast horizons of the Midwest prairies, inspired by nature instead of wishing to dominate it. In 1937, he designed what is now the Art Barn. After World War II, in 1948, he added the dining hall. Finally, in 1951, he designed a dormitory which has been lost to demolition. With the frequent collaboration of landscape architects like Jens Jensen, Van Bergen designed interior spaces to connect with those outside, blurring the distinction between man-made and natural worlds. Again, perfect for a school known for the wow and wonder of self-discovered learning. As global citizens, we're now struggling to realign our ideas of progress with Mother Nature's, where the concepts of waste and hierarchy are foreign. On a campus born out of respect for nature, EMSA students will be equipped to grow into future leaders who recognize that all resources are equally important in healthy ecosystems. With this resolve, we'll embark on the next phase of rehabilitating John Van Bergen's work, maintaining its authenticity. Along with my colleagues Brandon and Fabi and our contracting partners, Bully and Andrews, I'm grateful to EMSA for letting us time travel with them to discover wisdom planted here long ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, I went over my script, what I was supposed to say, but the one thing I did not ask is where I sat when other people are talking. So I just became a seat filler over here. So if you see me disappear, I don't, you know. The Heritage Commission and the Design Review Subcommittee are proud to have the hard work of a comprehensive, up-to-date historic district and landmark guidelines approved this past March by the City Council. The changes include an easier to navigate document with architectural callouts and links to helpful articles. The new guidelines also reflect a more lenient solar panel section, as well as an inclusion of appropriate mid-century guidelines that have been omitted in the past. We've also been working on an historic resources survey of the Midwest neighborhood, which helps identify structures in that area that have historic significance. The survey and the neighborhood history summary was conducted by Heritage Commissioner Rebecca Hunter, who I think we'll be hearing something about later on tonight, and the city's historic preservation planner, Kristen Sundquist, and will be completed this summer. We're also excited by the upcoming events in 2022. This week kicked off a month-long celebration including events, lectures, and tours that promote preservation in Elgin. You can find a list of events in the brochure that can be found at the City Hall, Gail Borden Public Library, Elgin History Museum, Elgin Public Museum, as well as digitally on the city's calendar. We also have an exhibit at the Gail Borden Public Library that shows off a unique display of historic artifacts that were rediscovered in Elgin home renovations, as well as a list of wonderful resources and books on historic preservation and architecture. I strongly encourage anyone to attend our public meetings. The Heritage Commission meets the first Tuesday of every month, and our Design Review Subcommittee meets every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, both at 6 p.m. and both in the City Council chambers. Now, to begin our Plaques Award ceremony, I'd like to introduce the city's historic preservation planner, Kristen Sundquist. I'm going to sit over here.
Thank you, Chairman Marston. If you have the pleasure of speaking with Chairman Marston after this event, please wish him a happy birthday. Elgin's Plaque program has been a popular program since 1986, for it identifies and promotes awareness and appreciation of those buildings in Elgin which have historical and architectural value. Each year, property owners who have completed research on their home's architecture is presented with a plaque and a certificate that states the date of construction and the original owner's name. In addition, all of the information collected, including photographs and historic documents, are then placed on the Heritage Commission's award-winning Historic Elgin website, accessible to not only our residents, but as well as visitors interested in learning more about what makes Elgin a preservation destination. Tonight, we will present 6 heritage plaques. Our first plaque recipient tonight is 140 North Channing Street. The home was built by Thomas and Addie Mackey in 1891. Thomas was a contractor and builder at the time and lived next door at 132 North Channing. They used 140 North Channing as additional income, retaining ownership until 1918 when they sold the property. Over the years since its 1891 construction, 140 North Channing undergone perhaps more than its fair share of exterior alterations. In 1919, the home was sold and divided into 2 apartments and remained a 2-unit until 2008 when the City of Elgin purchased the property and transferred the house to Habitat for Humanity in 2011. This partnership has allowed numerous homes to have been rehabilitated throughout the city, including this one. At that time, the current owners, Christopher and Sarah Hunt, helped with the 2011 rehabilitation. As Sarah noted, our historic home in a historic neighborhood is something that we are truly proud to own. We'd like to thank Christopher and Sarah for sharing the history of this property with us and for being wonderful stewards of their historic home. Will Christopher and Sarah please come forward and accept your plaque? Is like a picture? Yep. Oh, don't you want to be in the picture?
I can be. Do you want me? Say a few words.
I'm Sarah, and this is my husband, Christopher, and we are proud Elgin residents, and we're just very proud to receive this plaque. I know that our house is not maybe as traditional as some that have received this plaque, but we do feel like the restoration of it is honoring of its roots and its history and much closer to what it once was from the past. And honestly, when we first saw it, we loved the neighborhood and wondered what in the world we were going to do with the house, because as the picture showed, it was in really bad shape. So we are thankful to Habitat and to the city for their partnership and for it being restored to a home that we truly love and enjoy. And my son, Joey, is not here tonight, but he was actually the one that put this in motion for us. He hired Rebecca on to do the research, and it was in honor of our 10th anniversary at the house, which was just a total surprise and really blessed my heart and our hearts. And so we're very appreciative to Joey and to be a part of this process.
Thank you.
Our next plaque recipient tonight is 282 Douglas Avenue. This building was built in 1922 as a 4-flat for Harris Goldman. At that time, the cost to build and purchase the property, including the demolition of a previous home on the site, was around $18,000. Conveniently, Harris and his family lived right next door at 278 Douglas. Harris immigrated to the United States in 1893 and is first listed in Elgin in the 1894 city directory as a junk dealer, living at 23 Dexter Avenue. His home and business were located in the area now occupied by City Hall. Today, we probably would describe his company as a salvage or recycling operation. Aside from the splendid Italian Renaissance style window over the front entry, arts and crafts elements dominate 282 Douglas, including the front casement windows and the 3/1 double-hung sash windows found on the rest of the building. The tall parapet on the east elevation hiding the flat roof is typical of commercial buildings of the period. This building stayed in the Goldman family until 1936. The building was purchased in 2021 by Grant and Christy Bourne, who are known for their sensitive rehabilitations within this block of Spring Douglas Avenue, including not only 278 Douglas, but 263, 267, 269, 271, and 265 Douglas Avenue. We'd like to thank Grant and Christy for sharing the history of the historic Goldman Flats. Will you please come forward to accept your plaque?
Wow, thank you, Kristen. When we were looking at buildings in Elgin back in 2016, one of the buildings we were looking at was obviously 278 Douglas. And while we were there, I hope that's not my phone, is it? Okay. All right. While we were looking at that building, the realtor pointed out that there was a distinguished, handsome older man next door picking up trash at this building. And we thought that was kind of strange. And he said, you know, that guy over there picking up trash, he owns that building. And I said, well, how do you know that? Because my realtor was from Chicago, so he didn't know anything about Elgin. He said, because he's picking up trash. And if it was a tenant, he would not be picking up trash in front of his building. And he was absolutely right. So we walked over and introduced ourselves to the man picking up the trash. And it happened to be Ed Schock, who many of you guys know is the mayor. And he was so gracious and so kind that Ed and I became really good friends over the next couple of years. And we went to coffee and to lunch, and he guided me and taught me and brought me his big stack of business cards and told me to use Grandstand tan on the wall, and you can buy it from Home Depot, and this is where you get. I mean, he taught me every single thing about how to get started in real estate because I knew nothing about what I was doing. So I was so thankful when on December 15th of this past year, another realtor called me and said, hey, we've had several deals fall through on this building. Are you interested? I didn't even know it was for sale, but it shares a driveway, and I've driven by it every day. I look at it every day, and it's so beautiful. And the Shocks had taken such beautiful care of the building that there was no question that I wanted it, and they wanted to close by the end of the year. So it took 14 days, and we put it together, and we're so thankful to own this piece of property. It's just a historic part of Elgin, and we love it, and we love Elgin. And thank you, Rebecca, for all the work that you do, and to the Heritage Commission for everything that you guys do. It's been a blast. Thank you. Thanks.
"1045 North Spring is our next plaque recipient for tonight. The building was built for John and Nellie Alexander in 1884. John Alexander was a colonel in the Army during the Civil War prior to joining David C. Cook Company as a department supervisor. He and his wife remained in the home until 1891, when it was sold to notable Elginite Andrew Barclay Sperling for $12,000. Andrew Sperling was a Civil War veteran himself, working his way up to the rank of Brigadier General, as well as earning the Congressional Medal of Honor. Prior to that, he lived an exciting life, including taking part in the California Gold Rush, spending time as a cowboy, and even surviving a shipwreck. Sperling is most notable for the construction of the Sperling Block, located at the northwest corner of Spring and DuPage Streets, now 40 DuPage Court. This was Elgin's first steel-frame skyscraper, built at a cost of $105,000, designed by architect W. Wright Abel. It is now being adaptively reused in apartments using the federal and state historic tax credit for its rehabilitation. The economic downturn of 1893 made it impossible to fill the new building with tenants, and Sperling became heavily in debt, eventually losing his entire fortune. He returned to Chicago and ended his days on a $50 per month government pension. The home is considered as a Queen Anne-style half-timbered subtype. In the 1950s, the home went under an extensive modernization, which was instituted by the Elgin Association of Commerce. The organization funded a program called Operation Home Improvement, which rehabbed homes in need of major repairs. For this home, a competition was held and prizes were offered for the best suggestions. The best suggestion included alteration of the front porch with wrought iron columns and removal of its iconic tower. The success of this program led to the designation of Elgin as an All-American City in 1956. We are perhaps fortunate from a historical perspective to have such a detailed documentation of the 1950s efforts of a municipality to improve the local housing stock by modernization of old buildings. Though Elgin is also fortunate in that most owners of historic homes at that time did not have the resources for mid-century modernization in the wake of the departure of the National Watch Factory. Since then, the front porch was rehabbed back to a more appropriate style. Owners Robert and Wayne have already hit the ground running, though, installing new half-round gutters, reconfiguring the pot vents from the roof from visible areas, and installed a custom replacement garage door that is more in keeping with what is there historically. They also have stated they dream about bringing back its iconic tower. We'd like to thank Robert and Wayne for everything that they have done so far to preserve this iconic home and for sharing its even more dramatic history. Will Robert and Wayne please come forward and receive your plaque?
So thank you. We are the most recent caretakers of 1045 North Spring Street, or the mortgage payers and taxpayers. But we just very quickly also want to extend our thanks to Rebecca Hunter, who we met at her garage sale the first week we moved in, and had the great fortune of winning the auction with the Elgin History Museum to get her services. And she swept into our dining room and was not overwhelmed by the giant banker's box, easels, old art pieces that were left by prior owners, and loaded them all into her Subaru and just helped us figure out everything about this great house. So thank you.
.329 North Avenue is our next plaque recipient tonight. The building was built for August Range in 1909 for $2,800. August was born in Germany and immigrated in 1883. He's listed in the 1890 city directory as a barber. August sold the home in 1918 to, uniquely, another barber, Philip Schlager, and his wife, Elizabeth. They too did not remain in the home long before selling it to the third owners, Elmer and Callie Pankey, in 1920. The couple remained there until 1946. This two-story square house with a hipped roof is clad in stucco with a full-width front porch. It exhibits elements of the colonial revival style, including the Palladian window in the front dormer, the wooden railing of the roof on the front porch, a colonial door hood over the side door, decorative shutters, and double-hung windows with multi-pane glazing in the top sashes. Colonial revival was the most popular style in the country from 1880 until the 1950s. The current owners, Tom and Susan Sorensen, purchased the home in 2021 and have expressed their love of the home because it reminds them of their home in Chicago. Since moving, they have been busy replacing old knob and tube wiring, stripping many layers of old wallpaper off the plaster walls, painting the exterior, and restoring the shutters. Thank you for sharing the history of your home. Will Tom and Sue please come forward and accept your plaque?
Well, you know, there is that old adage, you better be lucky than good. And we were living in Wisconsin, and we had our house for sale, and it sold very quickly. So we had really no time to find any place. We just had to get out quick. So my daughter-in-law, who's a real estate agent, and my wife were in Chicago at the time, decided to go looking for a house. And it came out to Elgin. And my wife seen this particular house, and my daughter-in-law says, it looks really great. It's wonderful. I was in Wisconsin at the time getting things ready. And so she called up. She says she liked it, she loved it, sent some pictures. And we said, well, okay. So it ends up, we buy the house. We closed on it January 4th, and we moved in January 4th of 2021. And that was the first time I set foot in the house. I've never been there. And actually, it was the first time I ever came to Elgin. I lived my whole life in Chicago, then moved to Wisconsin for about 10 years, come back, and never been to Elgin. But Elgin is a terrific place. I can't say enough good things about it. The culture here, the library, the gym, the architecture, and Rebecca, of course, you know. But I want to thank her for all her efforts, and everyone here. I appreciate it very much, and we hope to spend many more years here. Thank you.
.485 Arlington is our next plaque recipient for tonight. The building was built for Iris and Alfred Pruss in 1911. This residence is located in Elgin's 3rd Historic District. The Elgin National Watch Watch Historic District, which was designated in 1997. This area of town consists mostly of workers' cottages and vernacular houses built for residents who worked at the Elgin National Watch Company due to their close proximity with the factory. The subdivision was surveyed by W.W. Abell, one of Elgin's notable architects. Alfred married Iris Gibbs in Joliet, Illinois in 1909. Alfred's listed occupation in 1910 was an electrician, and he worked for the telephone company. They sold the home in 1920 to the Swanson family, who lived there for 30 years. The house is an example of the American four-square configuration, which enjoyed popularity from the early 1900s well until the 1920s. The design was called a box house at the time it was built, and the term American four-square was substituted later. The box house was basically a square or rectangular two-story structure under a hipped roof, most commonly seen with a full-width hipped porch. The term four-square describes the basic shape and the fact that such homes were usually nearly square and most commonly had 4 rooms on each story. In 2017, Carly and Theo Gorick purchased the home and have made substantial improvements to it, including rehabbing the front porch, as well as painting a vibrant paint scheme. Theo and Carly love the character inside and out of their home and noted that they take pride in their neighborhood. Uniquely, Carly grew up across the street, and her parents still live there. They will also be receiving a heritage plaque tonight. Thank you, Carly and Theo, for sharing the history of your historic home. Please come forward and accept your plaque.
Hello. So as Kristen said, I grew up in a four-square, which you're about to see. And I love the house. I love the layout. Just makes sense to me. This has been a labor of love for both of us. And when Theo and I were first dating, what's the first thing you said when you walked in?
Well, it reminds me of my house where I grew up in West Chicago, which was also 1914 American Foursquare.
So we both grew up in four squares. We love this home. We love working on it together.
We do.
And there's lots of projects coming up.
1,911 more projects to go.
That's absolutely true. But we want to thank Rebecca for doing the research. Thank you. Want to thank my parents for their support in rebuilding the porch and all the other projects that we've undertaken so far. Yeah.
Thank you very
Cover
much.
everything.
Thank you for the honor.
.476 Arlington Avenue is our last plaque recipient for tonight. It was built in 1906 for John and Mary Marvin. As many did in this neighborhood, John worked as a foreman at the Elgin National Watch Factory. He passed away in 1922, leaving the home to Mary, who continued to live there until 1930. She rented the home until 1937, when she sold it to the next owners. Similar to 485 Arlington, the home is classified as an American Foursquare with classical revival detailing. The home has subtle differences compared to 485 Arlington, as it is an earlier example. These differences include a smaller dormer, large parlor window with art glass, the absence of second floor banding, and a narrow elevation. The current owners, Kathy and Joel, have owned this lovely home for over 30 years and have done extensive interior and exterior renovation projects, including plastering, updating the kitchen and bathroom, refinishing the floors, removal of dated wallpaper and paneling, and restoration of their original wood windows. Recently, they received a historic rehabilitation grant from the city last year to remove the 1950s aluminum siding, uncovering the original siding and recreated missing architectural features, bringing this home back to the 1906 look. We'd like to thank Kathy and Joel for all of the improvements they have done over their 30-year stewardship and for sharing the history of their home with us. Will Kathy and Joel please come forward to accept your plaque?
Well, thank you very much. This is quite an honor. And as Carly said, this is a labor of love. It's nothing you do overnight. And we appreciate the offer that the city gave us to get this done. It was the last thing we had to do with so much extensive work. When we bought the place, it was rental property for like 10 years, so it was quite the project. And once we got to the outside, that was the finishing touch. And we just thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Mayor Captain is unable to join this evening, so Councilmember John Steffen will be presenting tonight's awards. This is Councilmember Steffen. You saw him parking cars earlier in the night. I was thinking if people are visiting, they think, wow, this is a classy event. They have a council member parking cars. But he has agreed to stick around, and he's going to hand out the mayor's awards. Councilman Steffen.
Yeah, thank you. Somebody told me that if I park cars, then I get the right to MC this event, so that's why I'm here. Actually, I'm covering for the mayor. He's out with rehab. You've had introduced to you Rose and Steve, other council members that are here. I wanted to thank EMSA for hosting this and allowing the tours. If you only saw this building, it's super. If you got here early and saw the Van Bergen buildings, that's even better. But while there's still light out, take a second, look outside, because what wasn't mentioned, and Gary and Richard and others would certainly love to tell you, is that there's a whole forest preserve, basically from these buildings all the way down to Duncan Avenue and the river. A ravine, a lot of springs, one of the 2 or 3, I've heard 2 or 3 in Illinois, white cedar forests. So we have one here in Elgin. Only one. I'm getting signals that this is the only one. Maybe it's the only one left. So right here, right out the door. So if you get a chance, certainly try to make a point to get back here and see all of that, because there's much more than just the structures here. So with that, I will get started. When I got here, I only found the mayor's badge, so I really thought I was the mayor. So then I found mine. So let me get started. We've got a bunch of awards to give, and I also broke my glasses, so this may be really a trick. So thank you, Chairman John, for giving me the right to do this for parking cars. So let me get going. Our efforts to restore, preserve, and promote our rich heritage through tireless efforts of passionate property owners, professional contractors, and dedicated volunteers have greatly contributed to the beautification of this city. And so tonight, we celebrate and honor the 2022 Mayor's Awards recipients for their dedication, hard work, and commitment to historic preservation. Nominated by their peers for their extraordinary work, they prove that Elgin's civic pride is in its heritage is alive and well. So, our first award, this goes to Betsy Armstead for her numerous and creative ways she has supported and promoted awareness of Elgin's historical and cultural heritage. She's done that for many years. She and her husband Dwight provided the finances needed for the Elgin Public Museum to continue their bison feedings. She has also been a dedicated board member and vice president of the Friends of the Lord's Park Zoo. Over the years, she has organized fundraisers and wrote successful grants which enabled the Friends of the Lord's Park Zoo to underwrite and partner with the Chamber Music on the Fox, Elgin Area Historical Society, Elgin Public Museum, Gail Borden Public Library, as well as Side Street Studio Arts for free summer education programs in the Teft Farm area of Lord's Park. In addition to this, as the program chair of the Elgin Area Historical Society, she has been instrumental in organizing numerous programs focused on Elgin's history and culture, including Zoom presentations during the pandemic. We'd like to thank Betsy for her continued volunteerism here in Elgin. Will Betsy please come forward and accept her award?
I need my notes and my flashlight. First of all, I'd like to thank John Marston and the Heritage Commission, and of course, John Stephan for filling in this evening. I'd also like to thank Friends of the Lord's Park Zoo and its board, as well as the Elgin History Museum and its board, and wonderful staff for this very prestigious award. I'm deeply honored to receive it. Working with both these organizations has been a wonderful and quite gratifying experience, and I really, truly appreciate the acknowledgement here this evening. Thank you.
Congratulations. Good job, yes.
Let's see if I can drop it.
Yeah, don't trip on that. Our next award tonight is to the Northeast Neighborhood Association for their continued preservation and education of Elgin's natural heritage through their butterfly garden located within the Spring Douglas Historic District. So full disclosure, John said that I got to do this because I won a bet, which means that I am married to one of the board members of EMSA. And actually, I have to say that I'm also married to that same person who's the chair of this butterfly committee. So I've actually spent a lot of Saturday mornings working on this project. So with that, I'll keep going. Established in 2008 and funded by a neighborhood improvement grant and private donations, the Butterfly Garden has enriched this neighborhood by transforming a vacant lot into a natural, tranquil, butterfly-friendly garden and for all to enjoy. In consultation with Dr. Doug Terone and the Peggy Notebart Nature Museum in Chicago, plants were selected to provide larval food and nectar sources. 13 years later, the success of this plan is evident in the well-maintained plants and the social and educational events that have taken place here. In addition, an architectural gateway was added in 2018, bringing more awareness to passersby of this unique natural area within the urban streetscape. Thank you, Nina, for your continued stewardship of the Butterfly Garden. It is a wonderful amenity to this historic neighborhood. Will representatives of the Northeast Neighborhood Association please come forward and accept your award? All right, get them all here. Yeah. Get them all over here. All right.
Brought a whole bus full here. I think he wants to take a picture first, so we'll do that.
You want? I don't want to make it too wide. Okay. Yes.
Did you get a butterfly?
No, I didn't do it. All right, who's talking? Anybody want to say anything? You want to say something, too?
I'm going to be brief. Really, I'm going to be brief. I'm Eric Larson. I'm proud to be the president of the Northeast Neighborhood Association of Elgin. And I'm going to just say one thing. One of the things I love about living in Northeast Elgin is whether you're a homeowner or whether we're doing an activity like a bike race or a butterfly garden or simply a garage sale, is we really have an innate value, a genuine value of the past without being stuck in it. And I think that pervades a lot of what we do. With that said, I'm going to hand this off to talk about the butterfly garden to Carrie Kelly, who is the chair of the butterfly garden. And sorry we brought half the audience up to this stage.
I think we brought half the audience up because there's so much overlap, like lots of EMSA people, we've got library people, and it's just sort of the nature of the butterfly garden pulls people from all different walks of life. The partnership with the city has been crucial to it. They basically gave us abandoned property, abandoned lots, and we turned it into this beautiful work of art for humans and butterflies. I just want to acknowledge my awesome docents. Eric Larson, he mostly has his wife do the hard work at the garden. Eric. Karen Sherman, one of our hardest workers and naturalist. Monica Montoya. Heike Spain, Sandy Skulski, Richard Wilson, Elda Surridge, Gary Zwick, Chris Flaherty, Green Gorilla, I think he may have left, and then, of course, John Steffen, my husband. He's done lots and lots of weeding and moving. And from the beginning, John was also there from the beginning, but two people that you all know, Tom Armstrong and our representative, Anna Moeller. The three of us were there from the beginning. Oh my gosh, where's Brian Anderson? He's our surprise guest. Brian, get up here. Brian, too, I didn't know you were coming. All right, so the four of us have been going at this for a long time. We've gone through Anna's city councilship, and now she's our representative and still helping in so many ways. But we invite you to join us. This is a group process. It takes this many people to maintain this big of a garden. So we invite you to join us, enjoy it, pull some weeds, whatever you're up to. We usually have a weekly work day in the summer. We're looking at doing Thursdays, but stay tuned. You can check us on Facebook or the NINA website. As you probably know, pollinators and insects are under great stress, and their numbers are declining dangerously. So I'm going to leave you with 5 things that you can do to help. This is No Mow May. So let your grass grow, let the violets bloom, let the clover bloom. It'll give our lightning bugs a head start and our bumblebees a little bit of nectar. Leave the leaves in the fall. Darlene has brought over, Darlene, did I read your name? Darlene Hewlin. How did I forget Darlene, who did the great butterflies? She's brought over literally beautiful Luna moth caterpillars that have been among her leaves. So you want to keep your leaves down if you can. Don't use pesticides. Turn out the lights at night if you can, or get special lights that will help your little lightning bug families. And plant natives. But most of all, come visit us, and we hope to see you. Thank you so much.
We would wander the city, and I just felt so inspired by the things that I saw, like many of you. And so when I had a little time to myself, my background is graphic design, and so I would start making things. And since we all were like kind of stuck in in our one spot, I felt like sharing it with the rest of Elgin, and to create some joy about we're here right now. Look at what is around us. And so that's how this all started out. And I want to thank the Elgin History Museum, the DNA, the city for engaging with me and wanting to spread this joy a little further. So thank you all so much. And thank you for all of you and the things that you do for this city. I watch and am so inspired. And so thank you so much.
Very good. Congratulations. Yeah, yes, Carrie forgot to mention, I just saw it at City Hall this week, but there is a coloring book that she has designed and put out, and I think that's going out to local schools and city events. Great. Super. Our next award goes to Laurel Garza for her years of volunteering at the Elgin History Museum, helping create access to the collections through digitization, digitization and assisting with research. Laurel started volunteering at the Elgin History Museum in 2019, donating 2 days a week to historical collections management. She continues to help create access to the collections through digitization, and she cataloged the entire Elgin postcard collection, made up of nearly 1,000 postcards. In addition to this, Laurel's work in educating and promoting awareness of Elgin's history and her archival collection enhancement is admirable. Beyond Laurel's history activities in Elgin, she serves as a volunteer curator for the Corin Farm in Campton Township and recently helped to edit a new history of Wasco, Illinois. Laurel's dedication and volunteerism to history is inspiring, and we'd like to thank her for all of her work. Will Laura Garza please come forward and accept your award?
I'm super humbled to be in the room of all these award winners tonight because I don't really feel like I deserve this, but because I have fun at Elgin History Museum. I love postcards. I got involved with this through Corin Farm and Dairies to Prairies, and I'm just thankful that they let me come back every week because I love it there, and I'm learning a lot about Elgin, and it's just been fun. Thank you to the Heritage Commission.
Our next award goes to Patrick Sakalari for his sensitive rehabilitation of 11 to 15 North Grove Avenue that uncovered and recreated a unique, oops, did I skip one? Yep. Ooh, boy, bad. All right, I'm going to blame the glasses. Sorry. All right, my fault. Take that back. We'll rewind. Okay, our next award goes to Susan Bone, for exceptional, consistent, and long-term leadership protecting and stewarding Trout Park. Trout Park, situated on the northeast side of Elgin, was dedicated as an Elgin nature preserve in 1972 and is a rare forested fen and a glacial relic. Historically, the area was known as Cedar Swamp, but the name did not reflect the beauty that many Elginites soon discovered. In the late 1800s, it was a popular picnic area and amusement park, but soon sparked interest in its conservation, beginning in 1927 with the creation of the Conservation Committee. The city agreed for the creation of this committee and to let nature pursue its own course in maintaining its beauty within Trout Park. Knowing its rich history and natural significance, Susan has dedicated over 25 years as the face of Trout Park, welcoming the public and engaging volunteers. Sue coordinates the activities of Friends of Trout Park, hosting hundreds of work days, performing trail maintenance, and leading cleanup days. In addition, she leads tours and crafts articles about the site for visitors. Trout Park is a rich natural treasure in the heart of Elgin, and because of Sue's diligent commitment to the ecological management of this site, visitors can continue to enjoy all that it has to offer. As Dr. Henry Coles wrote of Trout Park, I love it for its beautiful springs and evergreens. There is no place like it. So we would like to thank Sue and her faithful volunteers for continuing to preserve this special place, unlike any other habitat in Illinois. Will Sue Bone please come forward and accept your award? right.
Well, thank you. I feel a little guilty being up here all by myself. I had a very dedicated group of volunteers who gave up countless Saturday mornings to come out to Trout Park in the cold and the snow and the wind and the rain and the bugs and the heat and humidity. And they kept coming back, and how could I let them down? And how could I let Trout Park down? It's a gorgeous site. It's a magical place. It's so important, I think, especially I appreciate the Heritage Commission to recognize our natural areas are so important to the history of our area. That's what drew the initial people here. You know, they came here and they saw the river, they saw the oak woodlands, they saw the prairies. That's what drew the people here initially, the beauty of the place, and they wanted to live here. And I think it's important for us to realize these natural areas need to be saved. They need to be maintained. And we can't let other entities do that. Elgin needs to do it too. And so I appreciate the Heritage Commission doing this. And we're having a walk this Saturday. If you want to come to Trout Park and experience it for yourself, it's this Saturday at 10 o'clock, and we'd love to show you the site. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Good job. Thank you, Kristen, for catching me. Okay, now our next award goes to Patrick Sakalari for his sensitive rehabilitation at 1115 North Grove Avenue that uncovered and recreated unique architectural elements that have long been forgotten. Beginning in 2019, Patrick purchased the formerly known Gasthaus zur Linde, which was an Elgin staple since 1969. The building was built in 1881 as an Italianate-style commercial block, but underwent some insensitive exterior changes, including removal of the floor-to-ceiling second-floor windows and cladding the first floor with veneer brick, removal of the storefront, and installation of a fixed awning. Without missing a beat, Patrick took on this momentum effort to rehab the building back to what it may have looked like, with some assistance through the City of Elgin's facade improvement program. He reinstalled the floor-to-ceiling windows, removed the awning and brick veneer, and uncovered original wrought iron columns. He worked closely with the city to ensure a sensitive rehabilitation. The improvement to Elgin's downtown streetscape is immense. The building has upper floor apartments, and the first floor will be used for a restaurant, which will bring in more visitors and soon-to-be residents to Elgin. A win-win for all. His hard work did not go unnoticed, and tonight, Patrick will be receiving the prestigious Henry Jensen Award. Will Patrick please come forward and accept your award?
Thank you, Christian, for the nomination. I bought my first building back in 1987 in Elgin, and this one here, I did the facade, I did upper floor apartments there, and this one really topped it off. Finding everything that we found underneath that old facade. I believe Elgin builders put that brick facade on there, and they did such a great job. It really protected everything underneath there. It was nice and watertight, so everything we peeled away from there, it was just the glory in finding everything behind the treasures that we found behind there. Just recently on we have construction cameras still on this property, and just recently on a Saturday night, or Friday or Saturday night when prom was going on in Elgin, I was just amazed that there were young teenagers coming down and standing next to these rails and taking their prom pictures. and they were just coming one after the other, and I was like, and I heard they have voice on these cameras, and these students would say that how old these rails were, and they didn't have no idea that they were only a couple weeks old. But it's been a great project, and thank you, Elgin, for the support, and it's great, and we're looking forward to doing one soon again.
Yeah, I had a unique way to view this project. I was living with my dad and taking care of him at 1117 Douglas Avenue, just one block east of here. So I got to watch this from his rooftop deck from the backside as the facade, as the screen was up, and watching things going on the top there. So it was a great project. Congratulations again. Okay, our last award goes to who is left that was deserving. Rebecca Hunter, for over 25 years of tirelessly going above and beyond to preserve, improve, and educate one and all to the captivating beauty and cultural significance of Elgin's rich architectural history. Rebecca will be receiving the George Vandervoort Outstanding Service Award. As an accomplished architectural historian, Rebecca has devoted a majority of her free time to preserving Elgin's noble heritage and educating the general public on all facets of historic preservation. She has published 2 books covering kit and ready-cut homes and is a preeminent lecturer specializing in carriage houses, ornamental concrete block, and other unique elements of Elgin's historic architecture. Rebecca uses this specialized knowledge to assist homeowners with the Elgin Heritage Commission's Building Plaque program, as if we didn't know that tonight, right? She has uncovered fascinating stories on 75% of all the plaque applications within the last 7 years, and her attention to detail has helped historic homeowners get recognized and awarded these special plaques no less than 100 times since 1996. She actually wrote all of the plaque nominations that received awards tonight. Ms. Hunter currently sits on the Elgin Heritage Commission, continues to serve on its Design Review Subcommittee, and volunteers for Elgin's annual house walk. Without exception, Rebecca Hunter represents the true spirit of Elgin's heritage by tirelessly going above and beyond to preserve, improve, and educate one and all to the captivating beauty and cultural significance of Elgin's rich architectural history. Rebecca embodies the definition of the George Vandervoort Outstanding Service Award, which includes demonstrating continued vigor, imagination, and persistence in preserving Elgin's heritage. We'd like to thank Rebecca for all of her work to Elgin. She is more than deserving. Will Rebecca Hunter please come forward and accept your award?
I know that. I know that now. Yes.
Well, hello, everyone. It's been an amazing journey the past 29 years that I've been here in Elgin. The first thing I have to do is thank Doug Tarrin, for without Doug Tarrin, I would not be in Elgin. Doug is my longtime friend, and when my partner Margie and I were thinking of moving from Chicago, Doug Tarrin said to us, well, why aren't you looking in Elgin? And we said, oh, okay. And we came here. So I think that individual achievement is seldom a result of something that happens in isolation. I think it happens rather as part of a collaborative effort. And so I would like to thank my collaborative team for the last 29 years. That includes the mayor, the city council, the Elgin Heritage Commission, all 4 preservation planners that I've worked with, Sarosh and Jennifer and Amy, and especially Kristen Sundquist. And I especially want to thank Cindy Walden of the city staff, who has gone out of her way to help with my efforts. I also am grateful to the Elgin History Museum for their research facilities and the expertise of David Siegenthaler. And then we have the Elgin Gale Borden Library, who has sponsored my lectures and provided research facilities. And right now they have an exhibit on historic preservation up in the second floor, and you can get lots of more information from their website. Write this down, okay? Get your pens out. GailBorden.info/preservation month. And you can find out a lot more information. I also would like to thank the neighborhood groups I've worked with over the years: Gifford Park Association, Northeast Neighbors Association, Southwest Area Neighbors. I also am very grateful to all the individuals who own property in Elgin who have come to me to find out about the history of their buildings. And you might know I'm somewhat of an expert on mail order houses. This all started in Elgin in 1997, when working with the Heritage Commission, I did the Elgin, Illinois Sears House Research Project. And so I want to thank all of the Sears homeowners that helped me with that initial study. That's been the springboard to a whole amazing new career for me. Thank you. I hope we go on to do many more wonderful things together.
Congratulations. Good job. Yes.
Well, that's all I have in prepared notes, so I think we are finished. Chairman John wants to say something. Yes.
Chairman John. I gotta find my note here. Thank you, Councilmember Steffen. Once again, on behalf of the Elgin Heritage Commission, I'd like to thank all of our recipients, their nominators, and all their efforts in promoting Elgin's history and architecture. I'd like to end with a note that saying preservation in Elgin is at a crossroad. We suffered a setback with the demolition of the D.C. Cook building, but we continue to be amazed by the transformation of the Nancy Kimball House. As with EMSA, where a group of people had a vision to what a historic site could become, the Kimball House was saved by a like-minded group of citizens. We need more EMSAs and Nancy Kimball victories. Preservation can be complicated in the short term, but the benefits last generations. Elgin is an old city with an amazing history, and every time a site is saved or restored, we retain a part of the soul of the city. I did not personally have an answer for the D.C. Cook building, but I know the answer was out there, and we just needed to work a little harder, and with a little bit more time, we would have found one. Old Main, the shoe factory lofts, the Tower building, the renovated gas house, among others, are proof that preservation is possible, profitable, and a huge benefit to the city. So at this crossroad of Elgin's history, let's choose the road to preservation and not the road to what if. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you, sir.
Good job.
And we're done.
I like that.